Hello, this is Sarah V, and today I would like to share with you some of my fall sewing plans, and they might be a little lackluster this year, just for the fact that a lot of them are stuff from previous years that I didn't get around to making. So, if you've seen my previous fall sewing videos, there's some stuff that's back, most definitely. I think 90% of it is from before. But anyway, I am going to start with tops. And my first top is from last year, and it is Vogue 8240. And I think I wanted to make this long sleeve view. I think I actually had this in my winter sewing. And it is just this caramely black plaid that I got at Fabric Mart. I think it was 2 years ago now. But I think that would be very cute. My next top is McCall's 8663, and this is from the first year I had my channel, and I wanted to make this short sleeve view, and I was going to put pumpkins on the collar because it's a Peter Pan style collar, but it kind of has a extra scoop in the front, which I thought would be perfect real estate to put pumpkins on it. Just, embroider a couple pumpkins. And I got the materials from the Joann, which I got all the thread that I thought I would need from the embroidery section, and I didn't make it. But the fabric is this, I think a poly cotton blend, floral quilting cotton. And it just has little flowers, and it's a nice autumnal pattern for a floral. Next, I have one skirt that I want to make, and it is McCall's 8575, and I put off making this last year because there is this pattern on the Big Four website, and I think it's a simplicity pattern, and it's just a basic skirt, kind of like this, except the pockets are kind of these big, kind of U-shaped. And I kind of wanted to do that last year, but I didn't get around to doing that because I was like, I'm gonna have to figure out where the pockets go so they don't look odd, and I would have to match the plaid. But the plaid I have is this plaid. I think I bought it in college, and I wanted to make Daniel a robe out of it, except there wasn't enough. But it is called Dad Plaid, which I thought was funny. So there's that. Transitioning from skirts to kind of dresses, I have something just in between. It is this McCall's 5583. It's a jumper, and it was before McCall's had an S, so it's just McCall. And it's just a cute jumper. And the fabric is this orange wool I got at the thrift store a couple years ago. That was absolute steel fur. Such a lovely colored wool. And I wanted to make this last year, but you know how it goes here. But I figure I am going to have to grade this up. I think it's for like a 25-inch waist. And then, if I like it in the orange, I could make it again. Because I feel like I thoroughly have a lack of jumpers anymore. Because a lot of the jumpers I made were when I was 19 years old, 19, 20 years old, and they don't quite fit. So there's that. And it's really unfortunate because some of them, the fabric I loved, and there's no way for me to let them out or anything. And even if I did, some of them are too small. Like, even if I let the waists out. The waist is too high now because my bust size is larger. So it's rather unfortunate, and I need to replenish the jumpers that I have. Next, I have a gunny sack style dress, and it's McCall 7376, and I got this at Fabric Mart 2 years ago, I believe. They had a box of miscellaneous sewing patterns, a lot of them vintage, and this one is from the 80s, I believe, 1980. And I do believe I wanted to make the long sleeve view, and I do have lace somewhere in here. It's been a bit of a disaster in here. Not that it ever stopped being a disaster, but anyway, I have this brown floral fabric, and it is only 36 inches wide, I believe. I got this at Fabric Mart a couple years back when I was in college. That is something I do miss about college. I think I was 10 or 15 minutes away from Fabric Mart. So I got a lot of fabric from their storefront, and I could also order stuff online and pick it up there. Not anymore. So I have this fabric, and I do believe I have enough. It doesn't look like a lot because of how it's a thinner fabric and it's not very wide, but there's a good many yards here. Next, I have two dresses along with a pile of miscellaneous fabric. My first dress is Vogue 3334. And I don't know which way I wanted to do this pattern, but I did trace it out last year. I never put it away. Because of the weird shapes of the pattern pieces, I wasn't quite sure how I was grading it, and I don't even quite remember what I was doing, but I did cut it out of mock-up fabric and proceeded to not sew it together, so I don't know how that fits. I'm already ahead of things. I can sew that mock-up up and see if it fits, and then I can sew it, which I don't often make mock-ups, but I probably should more. Usually I just use sheets from the thrift store, because that is a very economical choice as far as quantity of fabric and price. But I have the remainder of the black corduroy that I used to remake my pattern making final from college, and it's a pinwheel corduroy. It's a very small wale, and I have this fabric, some of my last Halloween fabric from the Joann from my trip Yes, it was that trip where there was that bolt of fabric that smelled like a dead mouse. Forever in my mind. And it's a shame, not that that fabric was super cute, but it did have a tabby on it. And that's what counts. But I've already had to deal with getting dead mouse smell out of my fabric once, and once was too many times. So I had to pass on that. My last technically planned sewing plan is McCall's 8610, and I would consider it a shirtwaist dress. It is, I think I said it already, but it's McCall's 8610. I've made it on this channel. And I want to make it in the short sleeve length with cuffs, contrasting cuffs and collar, and potentially pocket flaps. And I kind of want to make this for Shirtwaist September. It's a bit late in September by now. I wanted to put this out this week. I wanted to sew it up this week, but I was cramming sewing stuff for the Renaissance Fair for me and my sister. Or I guess my sister and I think that's proper. So there's that. But anyway, the fabric I have for this dress is this. I feel like it kind of looks like Harry Potter colors, but I am partial to this burgundy, mustard, olive plaid that I got at Zinks in Lancaster 2 years ago, I believe. I think yeah, but I think this is a nice, because of the yellow and the red, it kind of, with those primary colors, I feel like because of the primary colors that it has in it, it's a nice transition between summer to fall, which is good for September. But yeah, I think that'll be quite cute for Shirtwaist September this year. I have a pile of miscellaneous fabric that I kind of know what to do with, kind of don't know what to do with. But it was stressing me out a little bit too much trying to figure out what I wanted to make with it, so I'll probably go on Pinterest and look around. What I have, I think I've shown this the last couple fall videos, but it's this kitty fabric that my sister got for me. And I think it would be cute, not just because they're black cats and that they're stripes, they're red stripes, but it's more of an autumnal red. But this would be great because I want to make, well, I would like to make a skirt out of it. I think there's 2 yards here, but it has to be just right because this is the only slice of this fabric I have. So it's got to be just right. It's got to be perfect. And then I have this brown fabric, which I wanted to make this jumper dress with it. With rickrack around with a sweetheart neckline, but I don't know if that's quite what I want to do with it anymore. It's from Joanne. I have 4 yards of it. And I would still like a jumper dress out of it. I just don't know if I wanted that jumper dress out of it. So this is another thing. I don't know if I'll get to it this year. I tend to plan more than I sew, which is good sometimes, bad other times, which it has turned out to be a little bad because now we're years past and I still haven't sewn some of this stuff. And there's no new fresh ideas. And then I have this flower fabric from Joanne. And I did want to make a dress out of it. The dress pattern I did want to use, I was going to have to modify the skirt because I wanted it to be an A-line skirt. And I don't know if that's still what I want to do with it. So it's something I'm going to have to think about. Because again, I can't get more of this because there is no Joanne, and it's a seasonal one, and the seasonal ones don't always come back. Anyway, but it's got to be good. Anyway, that's all I have for my sewing plans for this year. That's all for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like, and if you would like to see more fall sewing, please subscribe. If you would like to see what I'm up to day to day, feel free to follow me on Instagram at Sarah V Sews Vintage. I'm going to try to get better at posting. Thank you again for watching and see you next time.